Hello again. Attorney General Dominic Ayine has given a firm assurance that justice delivery under the proposed public tribunal system will be free and fair. A bill currently before Parliament seeks to establish tribunals in the districts and regions to facilitate expedited hearings of criminal cases. However, the minority in Parliament is opposing the bill, arguing that it could lead to political victimization and revive memories of extrajudicial actions during the PNDC era. Listen to the MP for Damango, Samuel Abujinapo, speaking on the floor of Parliament on Wednesday.
Build more court complexes, recruit more judges, recruit more judicial staffs, and if you want a jury system, let's have a jury system. Mr. Speaker, I don't want to believe this is job for the boys. I don't want to believe that. I don't want to believe this is job for the boys. It shouldn't be. And Mr. Speaker, the point, I don't want to believe that we want to recruit some lawyers from certain quarters and make them chairpersons of regional tribunals and get 2 people to become members of regional tribunals and get jobs and have some with Mr. Speaker, with respect, some kangaroo system where opponents of the administration will be run through a certain judicial system and jailed. We don't want that. Let's have the existing court system. Let's have the district magistrate court, the circuit court, the high court, the court of appeal, the Supreme Court. That is the judicial system in all civilized, developed countries in the world. We do not want regional tribunals. They bring about bad memories, scary memories, and bad dreams and intimidation in our country. Let's reject it.
Well, the Attorney General, Dominic Ayine, has been responding to concerns over the bill, insisting that the system will guarantee free and fair justice delivery.
There's a view that this is an attempt to bring back the tribunals, make it a case of a job for the boys, appoint members affiliated to the current government, that is panel members and chairmen, affiliated to the current government, and then have the members of the opposite party being dragged before the tribunals and then, facing kangaroo justice. I want to assure them that this is a tribunal that is party neutral, all right? That will be, the tribunals, when they are established, will not be targeting any particular political party. They will dispense justice in accordance with law, and they will be fair, and transparent in the dispensation of justice. So that is something that I want to assure every Ghanaian, including the MPP.
You're still watching the polls here on Joy News. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Let's go on to Zoom right now and speak to our resident correspondent in Parliament, James Aveji, for more on this. James, the debate follows the bill's appearance on the floor of Parliament yesterday. Tell me, how much progress has been made and what really remains before it can be passed?
Ken, if you follow the protest, the bill, after the first reading, was sent to the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee to work on it and bring a report to the House on the way forward. And so yesterday, the Legal Affairs Committee, Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee, brought back that report to Parliament, and which was adopted. And that triggered the debate on the principles of the bill. It is during that debate that we heard the minority largely kicking against any attempt to, fashion a bill to establish both regional and district tribunals across the country. For some of them who partially agree with the bill going forward, for instance, the NP for Efia, Honorable Isaac Boamanyako, agreed in principle. He believes that the entire focus of the bill must be changed And if the majority side would agree to that, then they will have the full blessing of people like them to go ahead with it. But most of the minority members who argued, who participated in the debate on the principles of the bill, largely rejected any attempt to even pass anything in the name of, Tribunals Bill 2026. And so, after all of that debate, the bill has been sent back, and the next time it will appear on the floor of Parliament will be for consideration, which will look at the clause-by-clause amendment, and that will be followed by a third reading and possible passage if another consideration is not triggered for one reason or the other. Usually when amendment is done, some MPs who still have problem with some clauses as amended and have been brought back to the House may trigger another round of consideration. And so if that doesn't happen, then that will mean that after consideration and a third reading, that the bill would be passed. But before all of this happened yesterday, there was a motion that was moved that this bill must be dealt with expeditedly. And the minority inquired why that should be the case, and the AG has been providing some response indicating that there's a backlog of work as far as the judiciary is concerned, cases pending, and so they will need to do this in order to clear all of those backlogs in time. And so we expect that the next time it comes to the House, it will go through the processes and maybe pass the same day or the next day. That's where we are as far as the bill is concerned, Ken.
Thank you, James. That's our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, James Avaji, giving us the latest from the House of Legislature. Now, it's less than 24 hours until the much talked about nationwide post-flood cleanup exercise announced by President Mahama. Just last night, the president, speaking at a National Security Council meeting, said the government is doing everything possible to reduce the impact of flooding. He stressed that while floods can be managed, they can never be completely eliminated because they are natural disasters. In the aftermath of the recent floods, government also set up a post-flood mitigation task force to coordinate relief efforts and address the concerns of affected communities. So, from 6 a.m. tomorrow, ministries, departments, agencies, and metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies will step out across communities to the silt drains and clear choked gutters. Well, government says the exercise is a critical step toward reducing the risk of future flooding. Critics, however, argue that taking thousands of public sector workers away from their desks for a day comes at a significant economic cost. So, is this a necessary sacrifice or an expensive distraction? And beyond clearing drains, what long-term measures should the government be implementing to reduce the financial toll of floods, especially on businesses and insurance companies that bear the cost of mountain claims? We will explore those shortly, but first, joining me on Zoom right now is the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Linda Oklu, to tell us about preparations going on so far ahead of tomorrow's exercise. Minister, grateful for your time this afternoon. As we all are aware, government is mobilizing the entire public sector for tomorrow's cleanup exercise. What specific outcomes are expected by the end of this exercise?
Thank you so much. First of all, greetings to our cherished listeners and viewers this afternoon. Tomorrow's exercise marks the beginning of a renewed sanitation agenda for Greater Accra. And like stated earlier, we have spent all the policy and this status to undertake extensive disinfection of their drains, choke gutters, and spaces, and make sure that unauthorized expenses over public space are also taken care of. And more importantly, in fact, our aim is to make sure that we restore public confidence that government is taking decisive action to improve sanitation and reduce flood in the Greater Accra region.
And what is the arrangement for MMDAs in the region tomorrow?
Yes, in fact, we had a meeting with all the stakeholders involved, we were able to meet some traditional rulers, NADMO. We met environmental protection officers. We also met all the coordinating directors. I mean, to have a roadmap. Yesterday, all the rec members went for a rec. We went all the time. I mean, have a part of some of the logistics that was there at the various and so we did that today. And so as I'm speaking to you now, all logistics are ready in place at the various all the things that can be await tomorrow's exercise. So I can assure you that all the MMDCs are fully prepared. We have an itinerary for all the districts. So anybody, any institutions that want to join with their phone numbers, we are going to share on Facebook and other platforms, and so that any NGO or any institutions that want to join can take the number and follow. All that we are advising is that if you live in Medina, make sure that you join the Medina main assembly to do the exercise. Don't travel from, because vehicular movement will also be controlled tomorrow. And so preparations are underway. In fact, the only challenge we're facing is the dancing side. And also, that the government has properly managed to secure a designated transfer station across the region that will be always collected. And I can assure you that we wouldn't have problems, but Ashwater is ready, Texas is ready, Panta is ready, Akiama is also ready, Malam and Kolu as well.
Already, critics say this is a one-off intervention that does little to solve Accra's perennial flooding problem. How do you respond to that?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Critics are already saying that this is a one-off intervention that would do little to solve the perennial flooding we keep experiencing in Accra. How do you respond to that?
Yes, I would say that, yes, I know flooding has affected our communities for many years. However, this exercise is not an isolated event. It forms part of a broader strategy initiated by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana to restore environmental sanitation and improve our urban resilience.
Minister, critics say that this will not solve any problem. This is a much ado about nothing intervention.
It will solve because, trust me, initially we were relying on only the MMDC, to take charge of their environment. Forgetting that when we talk of sanitation, it involves a lot of, a shared responsibility. It's not for one person. And so tomorrow's exercise, that is what I'm saying, that it's a renewed, it's a renewed sanitation agenda. And this is going to open a lot of people who now have an idea of how to keep our environment. Because tomorrow's exercise, everybody, all hands are on deck. We are going to make sure that they participate. And Ministry of Local Government is also going to put measures in place. And not only the sanitation aspect, but also there is a demolition aspect that goes with whatever we are doing. You know, the Hydro has brought out with a video of all the districts. And some of the buildings have been earmarked for demolition. And so we are hoping that the sanitation aspect also forms part of it. After the sanitation, we also go to the demolition aspect. So at the end of this exercise, trust me, we are going to reduce flooding in Greater Accra.
Let's look at the security arrangement for tomorrow, because as we are expecting, it's going to be a massive exercise that's going to happen tomorrow. How are security arrangements being put in place?
Yes, as I'm speaking to you now, like I said, the right side meeting was held. And so all securities from the various districts, in fact, tomorrow, we are expecting more than 500 policemen, on duty. And so all of them will be placed at some vantage places to make sure that tomorrow's exercise is successful. And they're also going to be part of the clinic, not only going to make sure that they monitor the security aspect alone, but they are also part of the training. In fact, the most good news is that even doctors have also pledged, nurses have also pledged, to deploy some of their staff to also make sure that they participate. And so, like you said, tomorrow's exercise is going to be massive. And security-wise, everything is said. IGP has made also some interventions to make sure that all the police from the various districts are positioned as advantages to make sure that tomorrow's exercise will be successful. So everything is on course.
You did mention that there's going to be the deployment of 500 police officers. Is it across the region? Where are they going to be placed? Because others will argue that that is woefully inadequate if it is just 500 police officers who are going to offer protection.
That from the regional command. That is from the regional command. Yes. Yes. And the district, in addition, are also supported. So this is from the regional command. The 500 is from the regional command. Well, this is a nationwide exercise. And so we should know that we also have district police as officers at all the districts, all the country. And so I believe that they've all made provisions to make sure that they deploy their staff to participate in this process.
And are there going to be provision of anything like water, food, anything for the people who will be participating?
Oh, yes, water, yes. But food, I would advise that we all take some breakfast before coming. But the assemblies, in fact, we have some caterers who have called that they will be coming with some breakfast. And so let's hope that we'll have enough, to feed. Because if we have, that strength, we can be able to work more. So water, yes, the assemblies, they've made provision for it. And then food, as for the food aspect, there will be breakfast, yes. They will serve breakfast. So everybody, and so also, this drinking company, they made this Coke and Sprite and whatever. They've also pledged to come with some drinks, to support the exercise. So we are hoping that we'll get enough to eat and drink tomorrow.
Will the president be taking part in this exercise tomorrow?
Sorry?
Will the president be taking part in this exercise tomorrow?
Oh, yes. His Excellency the President and the Vice will be taking part. But as to where they will be visiting, we cannot make it known because we want to take some of the assembly by surprise. The President will visit them and know what they've done so far. And so we wouldn't put where they will be yet. They will be touring. We want to take some of the assembly by surprise. So the President will be visiting, the Vice will also be visiting. All the MPs, CEOs, Chancellor, everybody is on board.
And where will you be?
I will be at AMA. I'll be visiting AMA, Ayawaso, Okankwe North, Ayawaso West, Tema West, and Santana Adina.
Minister, I want us to stay a bit on the security aspect because it's very important. The safety of all those who will be participating is very important to us and yourself, I want to believe as well. You mentioned that the regional police command is going to release some 500 police officers to provide safety. You've also said that the various district police officers will be released to patrol their areas. Do we have specific numbers as in every district, every municipality, every metropolitan area? These are the number of police officers that will be providing safety. Do we know?
With the numbers, I believe there will be a press conference from the Ministry of Interior. He will come out with the numbers from every district. So I don't have the figures as I'm speaking to you now.
Okay.
I'm speaking from the perspective of the region, directly from my regional command. Is what I'm saying. So with this, the Interior Minister will come out with it.
Let's talk about dumping sites, because after these cleanup exercises are done, they have to be disposed of to somewhere, and there are already concerns that there are not enough dumping sites in the Greater Accra region. Are there arrangements for dumping sites to be made readily available so that they are disposed of quickly?
Yes, I told you that the government has ensured after this exercise, waste generated from this exercise will be properly managed. And for that matter, we were able to meet some service providers, which they've given us Archwater waste site. It's ready, operational 24 hours. Testing is also ready to receive us tomorrow. Pantan is also ready to receive. Ashiaman is also ready to receive. Malam is also ready to receive. And Kolebu as well.
So is this the final destination of where the refuse will go, or this is a transfer site, the names that you've mentioned?
Those are transfer sites.
Okay.
Those are transfer sites.
So ultimately, where will it go to, the final destination?
Adepa, the final destination is Adepa transfer.
And is it enough to accommodate all the waste that we'll be clearing from?
Oh yes, it's enough. You can visit, let some of your media people go there and have a look of the place. That place is big enough to receive everything tomorrow. So we even have a resort UC officers there at some
And do we know the number of trucks that will be released across Greater Accra region for a start, and the other regions that will be participating in, so that it ensures the smooth arrangement and transfer of these wastes?
Yes, the number of trucks, in fact, RedTech are working on that. And so, like I told you earlier, we did a recce to know the numbers, but some of the places need addition. And so, I don't know, but tomorrow, I believe some of your media guys and ladies will be there to have figures of the logistics deployed at the various districts. So we can get that for you hopefully tomorrow morning.
And what role are Zoom Lion and other waste collectors going to play in this?
Please come again.
What role are Zoom Lion and other waste collectors going to play in this?
They are cleaning. They are part of the cleaning and also ensuring that the waste generated are properly disposed. So they are part of us. Yes.
That means government is collaborating with them?
My dear, I cannot, I beg you. You know, this exercise is for everybody. And so they are on board. And so whether they are also participating. And so where you are coming from there, I don't have an answer for you for now.
Okay, let's look at the time period, because already there are concerns that this will disrupt economic activity in the capital and across the regions this is going to take place. From what time to what time are you expecting this exercise?
Yes, it depends. We are starting at 5 a.m. We want to start as early as 5 a.m. So at least by 12:01, we should be there. At least by 12, depending on the number of people available. And so if you are able to start early, trust me, we can even by some of the by each 10, 11, or 5 12, we should be there.
So I take that to mean that.
And so we want to start target. So that is why we want to start early, at least by 1 o'clock, we should be.
Okay, so you say you are starting at 5 a.m. and should be done by 1 o'clock. But there's a possibility that within those time frame that you've provided, work would not have been done when the time elapses. So does that mean that it's a bit flexible, the time? It can go beyond 1, or it's strictly at 1?
Oh, we can go beyond, depending on the yes, that is all. They want to ensure that target is met. And so, if we are able to meet our target between 5 to 12. Why not? If we should go beyond 12 o'clock, yes, we'll do that. But don't forget that the exercise is 2 days exercise. If you are not also able, if you can continue the follow, I hope the Saturday we should be done.
The expectation of this exercise is the participation of all public sector workers. Is there any mechanism to monitor whether this will happen, whether all public sector workers are going to take part in this exercise, and how is it going to be done really?
We've put in place a monitoring team. And so I have with me the list here and their team leaders. And so that is what we've done so far as a region. So every district, for instance, when we take Ladade-Kotopong, we have Lejekuku, Konwo, Tema West, Tema Metro. We have a team leader from out the represent, which is Madam Maima, accompanied by the MP as well. So we have the MP, the MP, and then the team leader, who is Madam Maima. And then we also have their contact. And so these are some of the teams. And the CEOs, once as if they all have their team leaders, but they are collaborating with us. So that's why we should have a contact service of us. You see that have all the associated with this thing so that they will move accordingly, make sure that everybody will participate in this.
And what happens if people flout that?
Sanctions will be applied, that one there.
Okay.
Trust me, sanctions will be applied. This is a directive from His Excellency, and I believe we should all comply with it.
You did mention a while ago that the final destination of all this waste will be at Adepa. Is it the expectation that even the waste from places like Boom, Dowenya, Tema, and faraway places are all going to end up at Adepa, or they are segmented?
They will take other places, but that hasn't been confirmed yet.
Okay.
So Adepa has been confirmed. Hopefully tomorrow, those are the additional side that has been confirmed, we will let the public know. But as I'm speaking, like I stated earlier, Adepa is ready, to receive as many as possible. So we are good to go.
What about emergency situations? Have you factored that into consideration? Because likely anything can happen. Ambulances, medical officers, are they on standby? How is that going to work?
Yes, ambulance services and all the medical has been briefed. And so we are going to deploy all the ambulances at the various districts, even fire extinguishers, fire service. They are also bringing their equipment. Okay. And so every assembly has an ambulance. Every assembly has an ambulance. Okay. And so they are going to deploy all to make sure that the exercise become one of the most effective.
Okay. We know that this is a 2-day exercise. You've largely spoken about what we are to expect tomorrow. Let's look at Saturday. What do we expect?
By Saturday, we should be making sure that we've already even met our target. We have a target to meet. And so Saturday, at least, we should make sure that we meet our target. What are some of the targets that we are saying? We want to make sure that we dispose all the drains, we clear all the choked waterways, remove unauthorized dumping sites, and make sure that overgrown public spaces are also taken care of. And so at the end of the day, like I said, we should restore public confidence that the government is taking a decisive action to improve sanitation and reduce flood risk in Greater Accra. Hopefully by Saturday, we should be able to meet our target.
Do I get an impression that there's likely to be demolitions tomorrow and Saturday?
Definitely, yes. Definitely. Well, don't forget, we also have the military on standby. In fact, the demolition even started about a week ago when His Excellency gave a directive. And so the military, together with some of the various assemblies, are handling that. And so they are also taking care of some of the demolitions. We are focusing on the sanitation. So yes, there are demolitions that will be going on tomorrow.
And that begs the question that many are asking, to what end? Because if you do this tomorrow, if you do this on Saturday, waste is always going to be produced any day, any time. Does it end there? Does it end on Saturday?
It wouldn't, because sustainability is our priority. We have directed all MMDCs to institutionalize within the system regular sanitation inspections and strict enforcement of sanitation and center cycles, illegal dams, waste of water waste, and indiscriminate disposal of waste will not tolerate. And don't forget, like I said, with the demolition exercise, we are going to concentrate on it now have Akufo-Addo, because I have fully started with the view of all the places that need by people need to be demolished. And so we have those houses that need to be demolished, and we make sure that by the close or not even this exercise just for sanitation, by continuing, I mean, it doesn't mean that after these 2 days we are going to relax. Every day is a sanitation day for all the MMDC, and so they are very much aware, which we are monitoring them. We have a platform that will daily monitor their activities. And so after these 2 days, I mean, sanitation continues. I mean, the exercise continues. Demolition continues. And so we meet our target. And those buildings that have been earmarked, trust me, will make sure that all those buildings are put down, and so that we reduce floods in the region. So all the buildings that have been earmarked by Hydro, at the end of the day, in fact, they've also given themselves a target. And so by the end of their target, we should be able to make sure that after the demolition, we reduce flood in the region. And so it's not going to be a 1 day, neither 2 days. It's something that will continue until we meet our target.
Let's look at Saturday, because we know that Saturday is specifically for the general public to participate. Is it compulsory? Who is to ensure that people participate? Whose responsibility is it going to be? Is it going to be the MMDAs? What is it going to be like?
The environmental health officers have been deployed at the various assemblies. All of them have been deployed. And so they will make sure that everybody participates in this. And like we said, if you fail to participate, they are sanctioned. And so I believe in fact, people have been calling, hey, can we go to work? I said, no, make sure you finish the exercise before you can. So you can see the enthusiasm in which people want to participate in this. So everybody will comply and make sure that you all participate in all this exercise. Make sure that it becomes successful.
Let's look at the cost then, because all this involves money. How much is it going to cost us to embark on this 2-day exercise?
If I should tell you there's a cost, I'm lying, because this is why I say I'm lying. We don't have any budget. As I'm speaking, there hasn't been any budget because some of the road contractors voluntarily has given us their equipment. They've given us the equipment to help with tomorrow's exercise. Zoom Lion voluntarily has also provided some logistics. As I'm speaking to, when you come to RCC, some NGOs, companies have also brought some logistics to support tomorrow's exercise. Perhaps the assemblies are going to, in terms of buying water, and don't forget we also have drip machines at the various assemblies. And so the little fuel they have to provide, yes, why not? They'll provide the fuel, but we haven't, as a region, have a holistic budget for tomorrow's exercise. It's low. There hasn't been. All that we plan now is voluntary. people are on board and they want, police support and so on. So there hasn't been any budget at all.
But Minister, the region cannot solely depend on the benevolence of the individuals and companies. Surely you must have put certain amounts in place to say that, okay, we're putting this there for the ambulance services that you mentioned, the police, the services of the police, the tracts that you said you are going to get at the Regional Coordinating Council. You, Minister, will be going around, and also you will be damping it at its final destination at Adepa. So if you are relying on the benevolence of groups and individuals, that's understandable. But to say that you have no cost, that is a bit difficult to understand, Minister.
Yes, in fact, when it comes to RCC, financially, we are not able to support. You should know the budget that comes to RCC. And the various assemblies, yes, if they are going to, have a budget, like I said, it's not a budget that will be too much. Providing, you see, there should be a limit of the budget. The expenditure they are going to spend tomorrow. Don't forget that there's even a direct form. It's not some big money out of it. This is a disaster law, but so why, such a disaster, we should spend that amount because we want. So like I said,
Minister, I'm losing you. If you, I don't know if you can get the phone closer to your mouth or kindly reposition yourself so that we can have a fruitful conversation.
Yes, I'm saying that financially, RCC, we are not financially stable to support this exercise. And when it comes to the assembly, don't forget they also have a directive as to the usage of their funds. All assemblies, they have directives as to the usage. And so even if they want to provide water to the people I'm speaking to you now, logistics has already been made available for all the 29 assemblies. And so that one for sure, I'm speaking to you now, we have all the logistics sitting at the various assemblies awaiting tomorrow's exercise. Yes, they may perhaps spend some incur from them, yes. But it's not going to be too much. It's something that would be something that they should within their limits, so that when an auditor comes to them, they should be able, to explain. But like I said, this is a disaster. It's a disaster. And so why should we incur such a huge amount of money before we come? So voluntarily, people have come on board to make sure that this exercise becomes a success. And like I said, most contractors have deployed all their equipment. Some NGO institutions that produce liquid soap, cutlasses, poles, what have you, shovels, they've also brought up their support. Local minister of local government has also support. And those people forget that the contingent fund that His Excellency spoke about, there's also going to be a small portion of it that will also support, some dispersing, to make sure that exercise becomes a fact. But I don't have the contingent fund is not with my mandate. That's under NASDAQ, so I cannot take that. But I believe they also bring out something later to support.
So do I then get the impression that the persons that are going to foot the bills that will come outside of the donations you've received are going to be the districts? Is that it?
Please come again.
You have mentioned that the Regional Coordinating Council is cash-strapped. You don't have any money to spend on this. And you mentioned that the districts are going to be heavily involved in this. So I'm asking if the extra cash or the extra bill that will arise outside the benevolence of the individuals and companies who have offered to help. Is that bill going to be footed by the district assemblies?
When we get to the bridge, we'll cross. When we get to it, but we should also not forget that the assemblies, they also have part of their money as sanitation. This is 1% or so. 10%, yes. 10% for sanitation. And so they also bring out that amount to support the exercise.
Okay, Minister, you said that when we get to the bridge, we'll cross, but we are barely 24 hours to get into the bridge, and yet we don't know how we're going to cross. Isn't that concerning, some will say?
There are priorities to make sure that the logistics needed are available. And as I'm speaking to you now, I stated earlier that we have all the logistics, all the equipment needed are ready sitting at the various assemblies.
Okay.
And so we are ready for tomorrow's exercise. We don't know whether we are going to incur additional debt. Who knows? And so when it comes, the assembly, they have 10% sanitation, support from their funds. And so they can use it to support whatever it is. We are ever ready to.
And can you quantify in monetary terms the amount of the support that all these companies coming on board are going to provide in monetary terms? Do you know?
I'm not sure. We are speaking. We've asked anybody to support cash. The support, you see, people are supporting with equipment, no cash. We are not interested in taking cash from people. Our interest is to make sure that we get the needed logistics, and that is where our focus is. We don't even want to take cash from any other person. If you want to support with cash, the exercise is ongoing at all the 29 days. If you want to support with water, if you have cash, use it to buy water or drinks to come and support. Or use it to buy logistics and come and support. We want to avoid situations where people will say we are supporting with cash. If you have any cash support, visit the presidency. That is where they can receive cash. But the various assemblies, our focus is to make sure that we get the needed logistics, which we have. So additional logistics, why not? They are accepted. If they should come, if anybody wants to support in cash, they can go to finance and do that. So
where is finance? Government. Hello, Minister. Yes. Where is finance, please?
Minister for Finance is there. Local government is there. Ministry of Interior is there. NADMO is also there. So they can go there with their cash donation. But our CCV are not going to accept any cash. Our focus is to make sure that the needed logistics that we need, why not? If they have logistics they bring, we will take it. As I'm speaking, like I said, other institutions brought liquid soap, they brought shovels and other things, which we've asked the assemblies to come for it. And so that is what we can account for. Please, I don't want any cash to come to me. So people say, they're giving the German minister this and that. Any cash should be directed to NADMO, Ministry of Interior, Finance, or the President.
So now that the minister has made us aware that this exercise is being done largely on the benevolence of companies and individuals who are supporting, what if the support is not enough? What happens on the day?
My dear, government has made enough provision for this exercise. And I told you, out of the contingency fund, there's a portion of amount that has also been allocated to make sure that this exercise is successful. And this funds, I'm not, it's not within my mandate to mention. But it's coming from Ministry of Interior. And so they can speak to that. But as far as I'm concerned, our preparedness is my priority, and that is what matters. We are fully ready and prepared. The institutions are just supporting because, this is a shared responsibility. And so they are just supporting. We are not solely lying on benevolence. No. The government has made provisions to make sure that this exercise is successful. And that is what I'm saying. This is a disaster, natural disaster. And we don't want to incur any additional debt All companies are on deck. They've made provisions. Government has also made their provisions to make sure that this exercise is successful. So like I stated earlier, our mandate is to make sure that this exercise becomes one of the most successful cleanup exercise in the region. And together, let us all come to reclaim our communities, protect our environment, and build a cleaner, healthier, and safer Greater Accra. A cleaner Greater Accra begins with you. Let's all come to participate and make sure that this exercise becomes one of the most successful cleanup exercises. So thank you so much, my dear. Please, I beg you, I have other engagements. As I'm speaking to you now, we need to visit some districts and make sure that they get their logistics for tomorrow's cleanup exercise.
That's fine, Minister. We are so grateful that you could make time out of your busy schedule to speak to us.
Thank you so much.
Linda Oklu is the Greater Accra Regional Minister there. Now, while the full cost of the recent floods is yet to be determined, the economic impact is already evident, from damaged homes and businesses to disrupted livelihoods and mounting insurance claims. Tomorrow's nationwide cleanup also raises another question. What really is the economic value of the working hours that will be sacrificed? And beyond affected households, what policies should the government introduce to cushion businesses, particularly insurance companies that shoulder huge payouts after disasters like these? Joining me right now is Professor of Finance at Andrews University, Kwesi Pepra. Also joining the conversation is MP for Ebuakwa South, Dr. Kingsley Agyeman, who is an insurance expert. Gentlemen, grateful for your time this afternoon. Dr. Agyeman, I want to begin with you. Individuals and businesses have already suffered significant losses, but insurance companies are also under pressure as claims continue to rise. How is the industry coping at this very depressing time?
Thank you very much, and a very good afternoon to all your cherished viewers. My sincerest condolence to all the bereaved families and those who lost properties in one way or the other. If you ask whether the insurance company, how we are coping, I would say that it's a very troubling time. Nobody will want to pay claims. We are estimating claims currently at around almost 500 million Ghana cedis, $500 million cedi. That is going to balloon every insurance company's claims record. So it's a very turbulent time in the insurance industry. However, because the industry has been able to build resilience over time, that is prudent underwriting that has taken place in the industry, very rigorous regulation and supervision that comes from the regulator. I would say that the industry, even though it is challenged by this balloon debt, has a very good resilience to be able to support all those that got covered by the flood.
And would you say that the recent flooding has exposed weaknesses in Ghana's insurance penetration and disaster risk financing?
We didn't need a flood to even expose this, because we are doing currently insurance penetration is about 1%. That's against the African rate that is on the average of 3%. Globally, the insurance penetration is about 6% of GDPs. Ours is less than or approximately 1% of GDP. So we didn't need a flood to expose these weaknesses. What this tells us is that people are not patronizing insurance, which is a very key, important, or a very key aspect of our well-being. Whether we like it or not, insurance is the only mitigating factor of vehicle that impacts on outcomes of disasters. There has not been anything in this world that has been able to provide this solution, not even prayers. Because let me ask you, the discussion goes beyond where you are, whether you have flood-prone areas or whatever. You could be living in a very high area. At the time of the flood, your car could be caught up in a flood zone. What happens to you? You lose property. You lose car and other belongings. So I would say that penetration has been a challenge over the years, and doing less than 1% as against the African average of 3% we didn't need this flood to expose that weakness.
I'm wondering what immediate intervention you think the government should consider to ease the burden on insurance companies.
So there are two-pronged approach. You realize that when the government proposed to impose tax, that's VAT, on non-motor insurances, we came out strongly to encourage government to do it. Because where you have a low penetration, you don't impose VAT. At the moment you impose VAT, you are preventing people from participating in a risk portfolio that is already lacking low penetration. So the imposition of the 20% VAT on non-motor basically means that people are shown away from the insurance product, like the non-motor insurance product. So the immediate request or the most prudent thing to do is to ask them that, please, this imposition is taking people away from participating in insurance. So there must be a waiver or a suspension of the VAT on the insurance product. And having done that, that will increase consumption of insurance services. Beyond that, because the insurance industry, insurance companies have been exposed in terms of the flood claims, what it means that their bottom line is going to be impacted. Bottom line means that there's going to be low profitability. Low profitability means that we can also ask the government, or we may appeal to the government that you should have a waiver in terms of corporate tax for insurance companies. Because when these insurance companies go out of business, the impact on the economy will be very good. Employment will be affected, the risk or disasters will be exposed very, very high, and the penetration or insurance penetration that we want to go up, want to soar up will be drastically reduced. So these are the two interventions: a suspension on the VAT on the non-motor insurance policies, and a waiver, some form of a waiver or an austerity measure to insurance companies so that they can bounce back.
Dr. Kingsley Agyeman, glad you could join me this afternoon. You're still watching The Pulse here on Joy News. We are also live on social media and on myjoyonline.com, and still on the post-flood cleanup. The government is sending a strong message ahead of the National Sanitation Day exercise, warning that traders who open their shops on Friday will be caught under fire as the government demands full participation. The local government minister, Ahmed Ibrahim, says all shops must remain closed during the exercise, warning that anyone who opens for business instead of taking part will face the consequences.
All other political activities must be suspended. Everybody must be on board. All markets and shops must be closed. And this one, the CDS is on board. And the IGP is on board. And the Controller General for Immigration is on board. So if you go and open your shop, you will be on fire. This is not just the normal thing that we've been doing. If a president speaks and you want to take it for granted, the law will deal with you. He is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. All shops will be closed. All markets will be closed. And the market, when the flood came, it entered most of the market. So if we don't close them and sweep and clear all the debris and disinfect most of the places, they will be selling all those things for us to eat, and there will be outbreak of diseases and those things.
That's the local government minister there. Already his comments have generated mixed reactions among traders. While some traders say they support the initiative because cleaner communities benefit everyone, others fear closing their businesses, even for a few hours, will affect their daily income.
Fair. It's unfair. It's not good. So please, we are all involving to clean the country, especially local markets. Me, it's here I make my money. If I get to see the price here. So me, I support to clean all the country.
President Mahama wants us to close our shops and support the cleanup exercise. We have no problem with that. We support this initiative because the sanitation situation affects our health and we all contribute to the problem. If government is helping us clean the city, we must support it.
So what do we have? Baba next time, no. I am mama. Your friend's announcement. And sana. Bibisa banti adana say in Napo already every month woba. Every month, we only appeal to government to announce such exercises early enough so traders can prepare and comply.
We've also been hearing from President John Mahama, who says the government is making every effort to minimize the impact of flooding across the country, stressing that while floods can be managed, they cannot be completely eliminated because they are natural disasters.
Of the floods that affected a lot of the southern coastal part of our country, I deemed it necessary for us to have a national security meeting to discuss the issues arising out of that natural disaster. It's become a recurring incident. But of course, this was far worse than any that we have seen, both because of the vagaries of climate change. It looks like increasingly every year the rainfall is getting heavier, and it means that we have to see what mitigation measures to put in place. And so, aside from that, too, the pressures of urbanization. Accra being the capital, it is expanding at a very alarming rate, and the desire for land to build is increasingly making people encroach into areas that were formerly reserved for the passage of water and the containment of water. And so of course, we've asked the Army to get involved in the flood mitigation measures, and then also NADMO and others are involved in relief, spreading of relief items. And so we want to look at what's been happening so far and what the measures we have to put in place going forward would be. Of course, we set up a task force before the incident occurred. They did some limited work in terms of dredging some of the waterways. But, I mean, the amount of rainfall that fell this time, it was very difficult to contain. Happily, the Minister of Finance has released some money from the contingency fund for us to be able to finance the mitigation measures going forward. We might not be able to completely eliminate flooding because it's a natural disaster that happens not only in our part of the world, it happens in other areas. But we can minimize it and make its effect less disastrous like what happened. In this particular case, all countries from Gabon to Cote d'Ivoire reported flooding and some loss of lives. Some much higher than us. And like we Christians say, in everything we give thanks. And we hope that we should be able to work so that we ameliorate the difficulty that people are suffering.
President John Mahama there. And while we fight floods, we know that sound infrastructure drives economic growth, public services, and national competitiveness. Yet aging assets, poor maintenance, and climate threats continue to strain critical systems. Ahead of the launch of the Ghana Infrastructure Report Card 2026. The Pulse speaks with the Ghana Institution of Engineering on why independent infrastructure assessments are vital for smarter investments, better policies, and sustainable development. And joining me in the studio this afternoon is Dr. Charles Asafo-Addo. He is a member of the GHIE's Public Accountability Committee to discuss how engineering-led assessments can boost accountability, improve infrastructure performance, and build a more resilient Ghana. Dr. Asafo-Addo, grateful for your time this afternoon. Why is the Ghanaian infrastructure report card important at this time?
Let me use this opportunity to say good afternoon to viewers and also to thank you, Kenneth, for asking this important question, especially at this time of the season when we are experiencing the impact of climate change and infrastructure, resilient, factors. What I will say is that before I want to answer this question, I want to just take us a brief to why this report card even started.
Okay.
Report card is just like we all know, when we all go to school, at the end of every term, after examination, we are given a report card.
Right.
And then this report card is a big opportunity for the student, for the teachers, and for the parent to assess or evaluate the performances of the student in all various subjects the child might have taken. It had a history that it came from United States of America, that in 1988, through the U.S. Congress, they gave a chapter that they wanted an assessment of all the critical infrastructure in the United States. It was through Congress, and after 10 years, because they want to ensure that they depoliticize it, there's no political interference in the assessment, the American Institute of Civil Engineers took over, and then they becomes like a ritual that every 4 years they give the American people, the assessment of their infrastructure. And in 2002, United Kingdom also picked it up. And then the Canadian Institute of Civil Engineers also did it. In Africa here, we have South Africa, which has also done a similar report card. In 2016, the Ghana Institution of Engineering did the first one where they assessed critical infrastructure in Ghana. But that time, it was limited to 3 major infrastructure. That is, they were road and bridges, they look at the electric power, and they look at telecommunication. These were assessed, a lot of work were done, and it's important that as we go now, maybe that was done in 2016, almost about 10 years now. But this card that we are issuing, or the report, will be limited up to 2025. So it is important that we look at the history, and it's going to give us a very important or a critical view of the way our infrastructure has behaved, for the past 9 years. And based on that, the institution is going to launch this thing on Tuesday, 14 July. So that is the important. It's a way of having a very objective and critical assessment of major critical infrastructure in the country.
So why now? Why do we need it now at this time?
Yeah, it is important we do it now because looking at what is happening, the aging infrastructure that we have, every infrastructure has got a lifespan. Everything we see, when we build bridges, we know that maybe for the next 100 years, a major bridge or 50 years has to stand the test of time. And all this infrastructure that we build, be it road or be it electric power, they all have a lifespan, just like a human being.
Right.
And because they are deteriorating, and they also need maintenance. Without maintenance, their lifespan will be over. And more so because of the climate change. Things have changed. You make certain assumptions to build an infrastructure. And now the whole world, we are undergoing major climate change. So Ghana Institute of Engineers has started this thing 10 years ago, and they want to bring this thing up so that all policymakers, all those who are making decisions will know the state of our infrastructure, just like the report card. If you know why the performance of your children or your child, and then you know that this is where you are from, this is where you are, and you can know where you are going. Because we expect a lot of population change. We know there's going to be increasing demand and pressure on our infrastructure. So this is very timely that we issue the report card for people to know where we are now.
Many will ask, what really is the report card going to assess, and how is the assessment going to be done?
Yeah, I think in January, I will just give, because I don't want to, everything is going to happen on Tuesday.
Right.
As we said, we look at, the other one look at road and bridges, so this one will definitely look at road and bridges. We also look at the power sector, energy, we look at transport sector, and then we'll look at health infrastructure, we look at educational infrastructure. It's important that the major 8 sectors that we have looked, and these 8 sectors were done, we came up with what we call the fact sheet. This fact sheet was sent to the ministries, it was sent to municipals, and then they did the validation. So it is something, it is better we ask everybody to come around, and so that you can really see the details of this important report, so that we can have a very objective assessment of the state of infrastructure in Ghana.
Interesting. And let's talk about the major infrastructure challenges in the country. What are they? Because many wonder how, if you compare our country to, let's say, a continent like Europe, they have older buildings, older infrastructure, but they are still in shape as we speak today. Why is that?
I think you've said it very well. If you look at the challenges that we have, to me, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. There's nothing like no plan. Everything that we have to do, the basic thing is the planning. And in planning, you need to look at the expected population growth. If it's road, we have the anticipated volume of traffic. The ASI loads that we expect to come on the road. If it is power, we know that the population is going. We know this is an industrial zone. If it is internet or communication, all those things are major infrastructure. And the first thing is the planning. If we don't have adequate planning, and then we will not go anywhere. The other point I've seen, or it's all over, is that there's a lack of maintenance. And then the issue about maintenance, that it is only seen when it is not there. Most of this critical infrastructure, when they are performing very well, we don't even think about them. It's only when they fail, then we really realize that something major that our life depends has failed. So in January, we assume that everything is okay. There's no funding for planning. There's no, issue of little things. I say a stitch in time, save 9. We don't pay attention to little things. You see a road which is developing a very small crack, it expands to a pothole, it becomes a manhole, and then there is emergency. So in general, our attitude towards maintenance, we are quick to start a major rehabilitation. Let me give you an example. If you are a gentleman and then you don't maintain your shirts, you like buying new shirts, you like buying new dresses. I think what we are trying to say is that the new dresses that you are buying, you also not maintain them. So if you cannot maintain, why do you buy a new one? We are a country of commissioning new projects, cutting salt, but our maintenance is not very adequate. So all these things expose the weakness. It's only, we do a reactive, we react to issues. We don't do, recurrent or we don't do a routine maintenance. We only react to issues. And most of these infrastructure, they have lifespan. So when they are dead, it's difficult to revive them.
That's quite interesting. And how does infrastructure quality affect economic growth, investment, and the daily lives of Ghanaians?
I think we all are very, when when there's shortage of water at home, you know how it affects you. If you have to go at distance, I mean, to go and fetch water, you know how it affects you. These days, we have all becoming internet dependent. When you don't have data, you can't go anywhere. When you wake up and then the road is blocked, it affects your daily life. So infrastructure is a measure of your GDP. And then the comfort or the level of accessibility that you accept infrastructure. You see that if you go to the hospital and then, I mean, they don't have the basic infrastructure to undertake basic medical care, it will affect your life.
Yeah.
And the health of the population is related to the infrastructure. So without infrastructure, we will become very, very unproductive. We are not able to produce as a country. But it starts gradually. It's not something that comes at a go. Right. So at times we may not be able to evaluate and see how important they are. So we really have to ensure that for us to keep the society moving, the country moving, we don't have to underestimate the importance of infrastructure. It is related to the economic growth.
That's quite interesting. And let's look at the role that the report card plays in strengthening accountability and improving infrastructure governance. What role do you think it will play? Okay.
I think, as I said, I've been an engineer for over 34 years in the public life. So I've worked in Federal Roads Department, Ministry of Roads and Highways. I've worked with the ILO, the United Nations. I've worked with Gov't. And then I can tell you that when you are taking decision about infrastructure, I mean, there's something I call it invisible committee. Everybody is influenced by a stakeholder. It could be your father, it could be your in-laws, it could be some political figures, or it could even be, Kenneth, you, because you are my friend, you ask me to do something for you. It will influence me. So when we don't have a way of standardized assessment, we don't have a way of looking at appraisals, we don't have a way of, doing a scientific selection. And that is what the report card is trying to do. It's giving us a baseline. It's giving us opportunity to make scientific and objective analysis so that there is no emotional rhetorics. And it's trying to make sure there is no political motivation. I think if we look at the report card and then we look at it from objectively, I think it should be a major input in any manifestos or any critical decision that is going to affect the country. It's everything that we do, that is, be it infrastructure, be it a railway line, be it aviation, we should be able to look at where are we from and where are we going and where are we, so that your vision and your mission should be informed by assessment. And this is how almost all developed countries have done it. We need to benchmark our development. We need to see, okay, this is where we want to reach at this stage. But if it becomes a subjective, I say it is good, you say it's bad, it becomes like, under a tree argument. We need to have an objective, and this is what the Ghana Infrastructure Scorecard is going to do. What has been done, we have opportunity to compare the previous one, and then I think the next 4 years or so, if the GIE is funded very well, and then almost at the interval of 3 to 4 years, there should be a new report card, and that can give a baseline of making informative and objective assessment of our critical infrastructure. We won't be reactive. There won't be any knee-jerk reaction towards major failures, because we can then predict, we will then expect, and then we know that when this thing is happening, because we fail to do A, B, or C.
I know that if we had planned our infrastructure very well, we wouldn't be witnessing all these flooding issues that we witness, right?
Yes, you are very right. And then, the Institute of Engineering has already given a report on that, so I won't like to, make it, a subject of this topic. But one thing it is that we are not harvesting the rain that comes on the ground. We have paved, there's not enough filtration. We don't have a retention area. We don't have a reserve area. All our drainage is filled. In other countries, they have, all the water gets into the sea. There should be a barrier. In other countries, like if you go to, Denmark and the Netherlands, they are even pumping water.
Yeah.
They are enhancing the outflow of the rivers such a way that there's no backflow. So all these things need to, take into board, and we need to be disciplined. That is it.
There's going to be a nationwide cleanup exercise tomorrow and then Saturday. I believe you've heard it.
Yes.
What's your thought on that?
Yes, I think it shouldn't be a one-day action. Normally, it's better we do things when out of the rainy season. The preparation, that's what we call the routine maintenance. The dredging and everything should have been done before, the actual day. We prepare, it's like football. You spend 1 week to prepare, and then usually 90 minutes for the action.
And all that you'll be saying fits perfectly into this. We are being reactional.
Yeah, exactly. So our preparation should have been adequate.
Yeah.
Because we know that anytime there's May, June, July, it's a wet season. And I think I also agree, somehow with what our Excellency said, that we should think of relocation. Or maybe we should find means that during the wet season, people who are in the flood-prone area should find a way to protect their... Even in America, it happens. When the hurricanes are coming, they vacate the area because there is an early warning system.
Yeah.
Things that can warn you that, look, the floods are coming. Protect your system and vacate. Because when you lose one life, it costs the nation a lot.
Dr. Charles Asafo-Addo, thank you very much. He's a member of the Ghana Institution of Engineering Public Account Committee. You're still watching The Pulse here on Joy News. Now, beyond the physical cleanup, the Seventh-day Adventist Church says sanitation is closely linked to healthy living and responsible citizenship. The church believes maintaining clean surroundings is a collective duty and part of promoting healthier communities. And I've been joined on Zoom by Pastor Colonel Retired Peter Nyako Diodo. He's the president of the Southeast Ghana Union Mission in Tema. Welcome to the program, sir, of the Seventh-day Adventist Church to discuss the church's participation in the National Sanitation Day exercise. I want to find out from you what specific activities will the members of SDA undertake during the National Sanitation Day exercise?
Thank you so much. We are encouraging the church members to come out in their numbers. We have a lot of branches all over the country, and in my jurisdiction, I have 912 churches. And so we are asking all the churches that they should come out tomorrow and make sure that their surroundings are kept clean. They should dredge the gutters and make sure that everything is okay, because we cannot worship God, let me say, in a dirty environment. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Our God likes clean things. And so we should make sure that our environment is clean, our neighborhood is clean, and our country is clean. Basically, I've been told that tomorrow is for the security personnel, but since Saturday, we will go to church. Some of us who would have the time will do it tomorrow. And the rest on Sunday, those who couldn't do it tomorrow, will do it on Sunday, so that we also contribute our quota to the cleanness of our beloved country, Ghana.
That's very kind of the Church of SDA. You've already mentioned that you have over 900 members from your congregation who are going to participate. But across the country, in the regions where this is going to happen, how many people do you estimate to participate from your church?
Roughly, we will be having about 450,000 members who would participate across the country. In Ghana, the church is, grouped into 4 regions. And so the regions, each region has a union. So we have 4 unions in Ghana, and then we have 4 union presidents. And so each union is going to mobilize the members and encourage them to come out and do the needful, because We are tired. Sometimes when the rainy season is just coming, we are afraid. We don't know what will happen. But we are praying that as we have begun, this shouldn't be a 9-day or 1-day wonder, 9 days wonder, but it should be consistent. We should be doing the cleanups every day and then, so that we get prepared. Should the rains come, we will not experience this flood again by the grace of God.
You've already told us that cleanliness, they say, is next to godliness. Beyond this exercise, what role do you believe churches, not only SDA, should play in promoting sanitation in the country? Oh, unfortunately, Kenel Retired has frozen. We're getting feedback from his Zoom, but he is the pastor and president of the Southeast Ghana Union Mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Tema. You're still watching The Pulse on Joy News. We return from the break with more. See you in a moment. Let's now take you live to the Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations, where the sector minister, Sam George, is currently addressing the press.
Depleted, we are obliged to go into NCA's own resources, and so we are very happy that we are here now with a way forward through the committee's work. Just to put on record that the DTT platform as we have it today is a monopoly, and by the requirements of the Electronic Communications Act, its tariffs have to be regulated. We are happy to have supported the committee's work with the modeling, financial modeling. We would be subjecting the eventual tariffs to regulatory approval as and when it comes up. Thank you very much. And this is a big step. 10 years late, but better late than never. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are honored to have the chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Information and Communications, Honorable Dr. Abednego Bandim, with us, and he'll give us a few remarks.
Thank you, MC. Honorable Minister and Honorable Deputy Minister, may I observe the protocol already established and proceed. Everybody on the table is happy, and I'm also happy because I'm happy that you're all happy. Because if you're not happy, I believe my doors would be knocked at to resolve some of the problems that will arise out of this. It is true that this has been a protracted issue on the heads of the ministry. And I'm serving my second term as an MP in opposition in the 8th Parliament. These issues came to us. And, the Honourable Minister today was my deputy ranking, and we had to deal with this. So I know all of you on the table. And for me, because I have worked with the National Communications Authority before, from the inception of the DTT project, I am fully abreast with the issues. So that makes me extremely happy that you are happy. Let me thank the minister also for this initiative. I knew that he was the best person to deal with this issue because he has been involved with it. And as a deputy ranking, he's abreast with all the issues, have a very fair idea of how to go about it. So I'm not surprised that a committee was put together to resolve this issue. For us, as Parliamentary Select Committee, we are independent. We will be observing, you will be looking at you and watching how you all conduct yourselves. It's an agreement that you are going to be signing today, and we expect that you all follow through the agreement and resolve it to the successful end. Otherwise, when you start to, fight, as NMC said, that you have fought for a very long time, we will watch but we will be looking at the public interest. And public interest, if we have to, in the end, recommend a legislation to resolve any problem, that is what we will do. So I hope that since all of you are happy, we would resolve this amicably. GBC, they are also under the select committee, and they have come to complain to the committee about how they were left out in the agreement. I'm happy that the Director General spoke and said he's happy. So GBC, I hope that your interest is taken care of and that we will not hear any other issues with DTT. On this note, I want to thank you, every one of you, for fully participating and having this report presented today. May God bless our homeland, Ghana. Amen.
Thank you very much, Honorable. The President of GIBA has requested that the Chairman of the GIBA Council of Elders also share a few remarks with us. So we invite Chief Crystal Jirako.
Honorable Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations, Honorable Deputy Minister, my dear brother, Honorable in charge of Parliamentary Select Committee of Parliament, they talk about the fight, and you were in the center of this fight when we visited Parliament many years ago. All protocols observed. I'm happy that my president decided that I should speak all the things that he wasn't going to say. We have come a long way to reach where we are today. And I'm personally inspired that leadership, and I'm talking of the Honorable Minister, has embraced dialogue, inclusiveness, and collaboration with stakeholders as the surest path towards securing a sustainable future for Ghana's national digital terrestrial television platform. This demonstrates that during national solutions, I take that again, this demonstrates that enduring national solutions are best achieved through consultation, consensus, and shared commitment to the public interest. And I'd like to congratulate the Honorable Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations on his exemplary, visionary, and statesmanlike leadership. Your decision to convene a broad-based stakeholder committee and allow its members to deliberate independently, openly, and without ministerial interference demonstrate uncommon confidence in due process, accountability, participatory governance. And we are so glad about that. You encourage members to place patriotism, integrity, and an unwavering commitment to the national interest above institutional interest, and work collectively towards a sustainable future for Ghana's digital television platform, with the scope and terms of reference given to the committee to guide its work. You have reaffirmed that enduring national solutions which could be built through dialogue, integrity, and mutual respect. Our journey to this point has not been an easy one. Following Ghana's signing of the Geneva Agreement in 2006, the nation faced a defining choice, whether to depend primarily on internet-based or satellite broadcasting services platforms, which are largely beyond our sovereign control, or to invest in a national terrestrial television platform that we could own, manage, and rely upon by ourselves. History has shown that Ghana made the right decision at a time when misinformation, disinformation, geographical influence, and external commercial interests increasingly shape the global information space. Our national DTT platform stands a strategic national asset, enabling the state and broadcasters to communicate authentic, reliable, and universally accessible information through infrastructure owned by the Ghanaian people, the DTT platform. There was a time when many Ghanaians depended on foreign broadcasters such as BBC, etc., for breaking news in the 50s, the 60s, and in the 70s. Fortunately, we have trusted national institutions such as the GBC, the DG is here, and the Daily Graphic. And today, Ghana possesses its own national digital broadcasting infrastructure, strengthening our information sovereignty and reinforcing public confidence in credible journalism. I can comfortably say we took the right decision at the capacity building workshop organized on the 29th and 30th of June 2010 at the Ghana Indian Kofi Annan Center for Excellence in ICT, Accra, to build for ourselves this national DTT platform that the nation can communicate with her people with the flow of reliable information. Honorable Minister, this national asset deserves our collective protection. I therefore encourage all broadcasters and media practitioners to continue exercising their constitutional watchdog role and professionalism, responsibility, and integrity, ensuring that trusted journalism remains the benchmark amid the growing tide of misinformation on digital and social media platforms. Broadcasting performs an essential public interest function, and the committee adopted a public interest subsidized pricing model, appropriately recognizing that reality while supporting the long-term sustainability of Ghana's DTT infrastructure. As we move forward, it is our hope that the government and industry will continue working together to develop transparent, fair, and affordable DTT pricing policies that promote media plurality, universal access, and the continued growth of Ghana's broadcasting ecosystem. Once again, congratulations to you, Honorable Sam George. May your example continue to inspire excellence in public service and nation building. And I end with the lyrics of the great patriotic song composed by the legendary composer, Dr. Ephraim Koku Amu, from Peki in the Volta region. Yes, from Peki in the Volta region. Let's remind ourselves every day of our crucial roles as responsible media watchdogs and trust ourselves to be called as one in our service to our motherland. You know that song? You don't know the song? Every day you should meditate on that song. We won't sing all. Everybody knows it in their various language. Long live responsible media in Ghana. Long live the Ghana DTT infrastructure platform. Long live Giba. And may God bless Ghana, our homeland. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. We've heard reflections from the key institutions represented in this all-important national exercise. We now go to the policy perspective. It's my honor to invite the Honorable Minister for Communications, Digital Technology and Innovations, Honorable Samuel Nate George, to give us his remarks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The Honorable Deputy Minister, the Chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Information and Communications, the Chief Director of the Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Directors of the Ministry, Heads of agencies present here, the Director General of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, the Director General of the NCA, Executive Secretary of the NMC, represented by Mr. Cecil Sunkwa Mills, the President of GIBA, the President of the Ghana Journalists Association, President of the New Media Association. Sounds like a UN meeting, so many presidents. Representatives of KNET, representatives of all broadcasters, members of the DTT committee, our friends in the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols duly observed. Let me take this opportunity first and foremost to thank you for accepting our invitation to this afternoon's event. Today's ceremony marks an important milestone in our collective efforts to ensure the long-term sustainability, efficiency, and effective governance of Ghana's digital terrestrial television platform. It also demonstrates what can be achieved when government and industry stakeholders engage in open, transparent dialogue with a mutual respect and a shared commitment to finding practical solutions to our national challenges. We have come a very long way. This clearly demonstrates the reset agenda of His Excellency President Mahama's commitment to resolving major challenges within the communication sector. This is a real use case worth emulating. The successful migration from analog to digital television broadcasting represented a significant achievement in Ghana's digital transformation journey. Beyond fulfilling an international obligation, it laid the foundation for more efficient spectrum utilization, expanded access to quality broadcasting services, and enhanced opportunities for innovation within the broadcasting sector. However, the long-term success of any national digital infrastructure depends on its establishment and on the effectiveness of the systems put in place to sustain, govern, and continuously improve it. Over the years, concerns have emerged regarding the operational sustainability of the DTT platform. Issues relating to operational financing, infrastructure management, governance arrangement, institutional responsibilities, and the platform's long-term viability were raised by key stakeholders in the broadcasting industry. It became increasingly evident that these matters required candid and careful attention if the platform was to continue serving broadcasters and the Ghanaian public effectively. Recognizing the strategic importance of the DTT platform as a critical national digital infrastructure, the ministry initiated a series of engagements with stakeholders to better understand the challenges confronting the platform and to identify practical pathways towards sustainable solutions. And as has been heard around this table already, we've gone full circle, from complaints to the Parliamentary Select Committee, to courts, to meetings where we were walked out of. I mean, the whole spectrum of emotions have been felt, to optimism and to where we are today. I called the first broadcaster stakeholder meeting on 24 February 2026, barely 5 months ago, to provide an opportunity for broadcasters and other stakeholders to openly discuss the operational and financial challenges that affect the platform and to reaffirm their collective commitments to preserving this important national asset. Building on those discussions, it became evidently clear that the matters under consideration extended well beyond just determining the channel fees. They involved broader questions regarding the ownership of the infrastructure, the governance arrangements around the infrastructure, institutional responsibilities, what was the quality of the service of the broadcast itself, and the development of a sustainable financing framework for the platform. It was against this backdrop that the ministry established the Digital Terrestrial Television Committee to undertake a comprehensive review of all of these matters and provide the government with an objective, practical, and evidence-based recommendation to guide future policy decisions. The committee members were carefully selected to ensure ownership and one voice built on a consensus for effective implementation. I want to believe that with the submission of this report today, the court case, court case Yamutu. It is against this backdrop that the committee subsequently held several meetings to deliberate and deliver on the mandate as spelled out in the terms of reference. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, from the outset, when I informed His Excellency that we were setting up this committee, he defined it for me and said that this will not be a routine assignment. The committee was therefore tasked with examining complex technical, financial, operational, and institutional issues that required careful analysis and extensive stakeholder engagement. Let me be quick to say that I've enjoyed all the funds that have been given, but the funds are really not mine. They belong to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who has sat in this chair and has guided my hand along this path with every single minute detail of how this should be executed. And so to His Excellency, we say thank you. As the committee progressed with its work, it became necessary to review detailed technical and financial submissions, validate information received from stakeholders, and accommodate further consultation to ensure that different perspectives were adequately considered. Consequently, an emergency meeting was held on Thursday, 14th March 2026 to assess the progress and determine the way forward. In recognition of this assignment, the Ministry approved an extension of the committee's timelines, which were supposed to be end of June, to ensure that the committee was afforded sufficient time to complete a thorough and credible piece of work capable of supporting informed decision-making. One of the most encouraging outcomes of this process has been the spirit of collaboration demonstrated by all stakeholders, and I think you all deserve a round of applause. Staff from the ministry, regulators, public broadcasters, private broadcasters, and technical partners have each brought unique perspectives to the table. I've gotten complaints from every single one of them along the line. Everybody had a problem with the process, but we trusted the process, and here we are today. Ebenezer, thus far, the Lord has brought us. This collaborative approach reflects the maturity of our broadcasting sector and demonstrates that lasting solutions are best achieved through partnership, transparency, and mutual respect. Allow me, therefore, to express the ministry's sincere appreciation to the chairperson of the committee and every member of the committee for the dedication, professionalism, and diligence demonstrated throughout this assignment. Let me pause to say that wherever our departed sister, Gloria, is, her heart will be gladdened by this achievement. The ministry also extends its gratitude to the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, KNET Limited, the National Communications Authority, the National Media Commission, the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, and all stakeholder institutions whose active participation and technical contributions have enriched the committee's work. The report being presented today represents an important milestone. It marks the beginning of the next phase of the government's efforts to strengthen the governance and sustainability of our DTT platform. The ministry will carefully study the committee's findings and recommendations and engage the relevant stakeholders as appropriate before taking decisions on the implementation of the proposed measures. You can be rest assured, even before the ministry takes concrete policy decision, I'll issue a white paper that will be shared with all members of the DTT committee for us to have consensus going forward. The objective will be to establish a governance and operational framework that will be transparent, equitable, financially sustainable, and capable of supporting continued investment and innovation within Ghana's broadcasting sector. Ultimately, the success of the DTT platform must be measured by its technical performance and its ability to provide reliable broadcasting services, to promote our media pluralism, and to support local content development. Support local content development, and ensure that all Ghanaians continue to benefit from accessible, high-quality, free-to-air television services. Once again, my thanks goes to the Director General of the GBC. Prof, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And this one is not a political pipeline. Political pipeline, you never see the end of it. This one, there's light. You see the light. To KNET, our technical partners, and to Giba for all your support and for the live telecast of this as a sign of your goodwill and support for the intent to develop the cost-sharing model that we have built for the DTT platform. Your dedication, expertise, and collaborative spirit demonstrated throughout this process have provided the government with a strong foundation on which to make informed policy decisions. It is therefore my honor, on behalf of the government of Ghana, to formally receive the final report of the DTT committee. The government looks forward to working with all the stakeholders to advance the next phase of this important national endeavor. Now, I can go back and report to my boss and say, boss, yet another one achieved. Promise made, promise kept. To all our stakeholders, be rest assured, we will continue to fix all the challenges that we inherited in this sector, one by one, with God being our helper. Permit me once again to congratulate the chairperson, our Director of Innovations at the Ministry, and members of the committee for successfully completing what looked like an impossible assignment in record time. What took 10 years to fix, you achieved in 5 months. This is your victory. I thank you, and may God continue to bless and prosper this beautiful land that we call our homeland, Ghana. Thank you very much.
Promise made, promise kept. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We now come to the signing of the document. All those who are supposed to be signing, please.
So what you witnessed a while ago was the presentation of the DDT committee report. The DDT is a Digital Terrestrial Television Committee report, which has been presented to the Communications Minister, Sam George. Away from that, the Ghana Journalists Association is condemning the attack and shutdown of Obatampa Radio in Kaswa, describing it as an assault on press freedom and constitutional democracy. GJA President Albert Jumfor has been addressing the press at the International Press Center here in Accra. Let's take you there live.
Uswakon. Please, let's acknowledge your presence, Madam. Mr. Rizat, yes, thanks for coming. All other protocol duly observed. And let me also, on behalf of the National Executive of the Ghana Journalists Association, and on my own behalf, thank you, the media team here, and all media stakeholders for coming this far with us, for supporting us. In fact, anytime we called you, regardless of how short the notices, you avail yourself. And also, apologize profusely for the state, for the late start of the program. I mean, sometimes it's due to circumstances beyond our control. So thank you for your patience and for always tolerating that regardless. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, good afternoon. The National Executive of your great Ghana Journalists Association is thankful for your continuous coverage of our programs and press conferences in our efforts to collectively perform our constitutional mandate. We thank you for responding to our invitation once again. I begin with the attack on Obatampa Radio, Kaswa. Colleagues, the Ghana Journalists Association strongly condemns the violent invasion and unlawful shutdown of Obatampa Radio at Kaswa in the Central Region on Thursday, 25th June 2026. The facts available to the association after visiting the station point to a disturbing act of intimidation, lawlessness, and contempt for constitutional democracy. Report from staff of the station to the GJE explained that a group led by the Central Regional Chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Mr. Richard Asiedu, accompanied by the Ewutu Senior East Municipal Chief Executive, Mr. Seth Banini, and the constituency NADMO coordinator, Inyandi, stormed the premises of the station shortly after 10 a.m. Accounts from staff, including the producer of the station's morning show, Mr. Bernard Meku, who was beaten, indicate that the group confronted journalists and workers at the entrance, forced its way into the station, and ordered staff out of the premises after an altercation. The station was then locked, its keys confiscated, and its operations effectively shut down for several hours. What is deeply troubling is that the group declared that they are now in power and accused the station of political bias and alleged that the station had taken money from a constituency party chairman to undermine the regional chairman. Even more disturbing are reports that threats were allegedly issued against staff, with statements suggesting that what had happened was only the beginning. The GJA finds this reported actions outrageous, unlawful, and utterly incompatible with democratic governance. According to the accounts, the regional chairman and his gangs were at the station because there was a discussion during the morning show in which the regional chairman's comment on internal party issues on his own radio station at Fusu was discussed. It is reprehensible for someone who is said to own a radio station in the same region and a major stakeholder, major media stakeholder, to be leading an attack on another radio station or a sister station because this issue was being discussed. It's unfortunate that the sound could not permit us to show you the footages, the videos, recordings, so that you can hear from yourself what our colleagues said and the reaction by the regional chairman and his team. Let us be clear whether the program in question was fair, and I'm referring to the program hosted by our colleague, morning show host of Obatampa Radio, whether the program in question was fair, critical, balanced, harsh, or uncomfortable is not the issue. That is not the issue here. In as much as we promote and preach for press freedom, we also encourage media responsibility. We call for media responsibility. But that is not the issue to treat here. In a constitutional democracy like that of ours in Ghana here, as we are witnessing, the proper response to media criticism is not intimidation. The proper response is not invasion of privacy. The proper response is not the forcible closure of a radio station. The proper response is not threats, regardless of how you say it. Assuming our colleague was even reckless, assuming without admitting that colleague was reckless and irresponsible or was unprofessional, you can't take the laws into your own hands. If any person believes they have been wronged by media house or journalists, the Constitution and the laws of Ghana provide lawful avenues for redress. Indeed, we understand that the regional chairman has already taken one such step after the incident by filing a defamation suit against the station and its morning show host and producer. It is common knowledge and prescription that once a matter is before the court, the law must be allowed to take its course. But the question is that why should the regional chairman and his team take the law into their hands before resorting to the same law to address their matter? Why would they resort to violence when they know that there are several remedies in addressing their issue? No one should substitute self-help for due process. No one should bring a mob to answer a legal grievance. No one should use force when the Constitution demands restraint. When political actors substitute intimidation for dialogue, force for law, and threat for accountability, they cease to be defenders of democracy. They become adversaries of the constitutional order. The Constitution of the Republic of Ghana is clear and firm on this matter. Article 162 guarantees the freedom and independence of the media and prohibits censorship. Article 163 guarantees editorial independence. Article 21, and I take it again, Article 21 protects freedom of expression and freedom of the press. These are not ceremonial provisions. They are the living guarantees that protect every Ghanaian's right to speak, publish, receive information, and hold power accountable. Being a party in power does not confer the license on party leaders to close a radio station. No political office authorizes the silencing of microphones or the pen. No public authority supersedes the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. The GJA therefore condemns in the strongest possible terms the invasion of Abatampa Radio, the intimidation of journalists, the unlawful closure of the station, and the threat issued against staff members. We also reject any attempt to justify such conduct on the grounds of political anger, grievance, or public office. Attacking journalists is not an act of strength. It is an admission of weakness. It is the behavior of those who do not trust persuasion, cannot withstand scrutiny, and fear accountability. We commend the prompt intervention of officers from the Central East Regional Police Command, led by the Regional Commander DCOP Francis Incho, who reportedly retrieved the keys and facilitated the reopening of the station later in the day. That intervention was necessary, but the matter does not end there. The Ghanaian public deserves a full account. The media fraternity deserves justice. The rule of law demands accountability. We therefore call on the Ghana Police Service to expedite investigations and publicly communicate the findings. Our latest information from the Central Region, Central East Police Commander, is that the assault case has been referred to the CID headquarters in Accra for action. It is our hope that every individual found to have participated in the unlawful invasion, physical assault, verbal assault, and intimidation of staff, as well as the closure of the station or the issuance of threats, must be dealt with in accordance with the laws of Ghana. The law must not only be applied, it must be seen to apply. Anything less would encourage future acts of political lawlessness. The GJA also calls on the Attorney General to take keen interest in the case and ensure that any prosecutable conduct is not allowed to disappear into delay, technicality, or political convenience. If public officials or party leaders are implicated in conduct that undermines media freedom, The legal process must be swift, impartial, and decisive. We further urge on the National Media Commission to speak clearly and forcefully on this matter. The NMC has a constitutional responsibility to uphold media independence and promote fairness. And I take it again. The NMC has a constitutional responsibility to uphold media independence and promote fairness in the media space. Silence in the face of intimidation weakens confidence in the institutions meant to protect democratic discourse. The GJA calls on the national leadership of the NDC to publicly condemn the actions of its central regional chairman and any party officials involved in the attack on Obatampa Radio, and to apply appropriate disciplinary sanctions where necessary. We trust in the leadership of the NDC. The chairman of Etia and that of Ifi Kwete, the general secretary, should do the needful immediately. The silence of the party's leadership is what is deafening. When something is deafening, it means that it's dead. And it risks sending the wrong signal. And I take it again, the silence of the party's leadership is deafening and risks sending the wrong signal. We also call on all political parties to rein in their members and supporters. A political culture that tolerates newsroom invasions, threats, and shutdowns is a political culture that endangers democracy. Parties that value Ghana's constitutional order must discipline those who use power, proximity to power, or partisan enthusiasm to attack journalists. The GJA stands in full solidarity with the management, journalists, and staff of Obatampa Radio. We are in discussions with our lawyers and the lawyers of Obatampa Radio to meet the regional party chairman and the supporters in court. An attack on one media house is an attack on all media houses. An assault on one newsroom is an assault on the democratic right of every citizen to be informed. Now, our demand. The GJA is giving the regional chairman, Mr. Richard Asiedu, a 7-day ultimatum to do the right thing and restore confidence in our democratic and media environment. 1, he must publicly admit that he acted wrongly and undermined press freedom. 2, issue an unqualified apology to Obatampa Radio and the wider media fraternity. 3, compensate the station for the revenue lost as a result of the unlawful closure. 4, report himself together with all persons who accompany him to the police for the appropriate action to be taken. 5, withdraw the slap suit he filed at the court. These are our demands. If he fails to comply within the stated period, the GJA will have no choice but to escalate the matter by utilizing our weapons and constitutional means and treat its conduct as a direct attack on press freedom. In that event, the association will publicly declare him an enemy of press freedom and will pursue all lawful and appropriate criminal and civil action against him and all others involved to ensure that accountability is enforced and that no one is allowed to intimidate the media with impunity. If you approach us with hostility, we shall welcome you with hostility. And this is a warning to Mr. Richard Asiedu and his team. We are prepared and ever ready to face him, to meet him anywhere he wants to. The GJA is ever prepared. Ladies and gentlemen, the rise of slaps against journalists. The Obatampa incident must also be understood in the wider context of a troubling development in our media landscape, the increasing use of lawsuits to silence, punish, and financially cripple journalists and media organizations. The GJA recognizes and strongly affirms that every citizen has the right to protect their reputation through the court. No journalist is above the law. No media organization is entitled to defame with impunity. Responsible journalism requires accuracy, fairness, and accountability. But there's a crucial distinction between legitimate legal redress and the weaponization of litigation. I take that again. But there is a crucial distinction between legitimate legal redress and the weaponization of litigation. One lawsuits are filed not primarily to secure justice, but to intimidate journalists, exhaust newsroom resources, bury critical reporting under legal cost, or send a chilling message to others. Then those suits become something else entirely. They become strategic lawsuits against public participation. In short, slaps. Slaps are a serious threat to journalism across the world. They are particularly dangerous because they often target public interest reporting, such as corruption exposés, governance failures, procurement questions, abuse of office, environmental crimes, land dispute, financial misconduct, and other matters that citizens have a right to know about. Ghana is beginning to witness worrying signs of this trend. More and more, journalists, editors, and media houses are facing lawsuits with enormous damages, repeated claims, and legal pressure that can stretch long after the story has been published. In many cases, the objective appears not to be truth or redress, but intimidation. The aim is to make the cost of reporting so high that the newsroom is forced into silence, caution, or self-censorship. This is unacceptable in a democratic society. The case of Mr. Larry Dogbe, managing editor of the Herald, is a worrying example of the broader menace of slaps and the chilling effect such can.
You've been listening to the GJA President Albert Jumfo condemning the closure of Obatempa Radio in Kaswa. The pause returns after this break. Welcome back. A growing dispute around the World Cup disciplinary decision has sparked debate far beyond football. At the center of it is Folarin Balogun, the U.S. striker whose red card ban was suspended after Donald Trump's intervention. Well, the case has triggered a fierce reaction over fairness, independence, and political pressure on the game's biggest stage, especially in Europe, where UEFA accused FIFA of undermining the game's integrity. For more on this European perspective, we're joined by Thomas Parrow, a correspondent in Berlin for our partners DW. Thomas, why has the Balogun case triggered a strong reaction across Europe?
One reason why this case has triggered such a strong reaction across Europe is because FIFA and UEFA is the European football body, have been at loggerheads over a wide variety of issues for quite some time now. So this particular controversy adds fuel to that particular fire. But beyond that, there is concern here in Europe that political influence, in particular from Donald Trump, in particular regarding this Balogun case, could actually affect the autonomy of sport, could actually affect the independence of sport. And that's why the statement that came from UEFA was particularly harsh, a statement saying that FIFA had crossed a red line, a statement that also stressed that the decision had been unjustifiable. But it's beyond UEFA. Also, some of the national organizations, the national federations have also criticized the move, some more harshly than others. And it has also been a decision that has been commented on politically. Several governments here in Europe have also reacted to that decision. And from the European Union perspective, it has also been criticized. The European Commission, in particular, the European Commissioner for Sport, also voicing their opposition towards that decision. What unites all these positions is that fear, that idea that it could set a precedent. That's one element. And second, that it could affect the independence of sport. There's the belief that no political interference should affect sporting decisions, especially also now when we're talking about the Football World Cup.
How much does Donald Trump's intervention change the way Europeans view this controversy?
Some way, because it's no secret that Donald Trump and several European countries do not see eye to eye, again, on a wide variety of issues. That's something that you can see in plain sight now, for example, in the NATO summit that's taking place in Turkey. All those differences between the current US government and European governments as well. So again, many see this as Donald Trump, again, using his political influence to move a decision towards, in this case, the US national football team. But what all the statements have stressed, all the statements that we saw, at least from this European perspective, they do not focus on Donald Trump specifically. What they focus on is the idea that there should be no political interference in sporting decisions, whether from Donald Trump or other politicians. So it's not specifically about Donald Trump, although obviously at the same time, the fact that Donald Trump and European leaders do not see eye to eye in a wide variety of areas has played also a role in how Europeans view this dispute and this political controversy around the Balogun case.
And Thomas, could this become a precedent for future tournaments where disciplinary rulings are seen as negotiable under political pressure?
Well, that's at least a fear that you've seen also here in Europe, also among several social media users on social media accounts, stressing that basically now every decision in football and in other sports as well could be then up for review if then there's some political influence there. So there is a fear that this could set a precedent. But that's why there are also discussions underway. That's why there's also this criticism coming from UEFA, precisely also to stop that from becoming a precedent. UEFA stressing that this is a red line that has been crossed, already indicated that in previous disputes they will not follow FIFA's way of approaching things. So there is an idea that while this could set a precedent, there are efforts underway to avoid precisely this from happening. But it is a very big debate, a very big discussion, specifically here in Europe, about how to keep the autonomy and the independence of sport at a very challenging time.
With our partners DW in Berlin. Thank you very much, Thomas. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of The Pulse. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. My name is Kenneth. Jesse, have a good evening.